Hello and welcome to a Masters 25 Draft League. This is Oldmanpoole. I am still enjoying this format quite a bit. I'm going to try and get in this draft and maybe one more draft before the format rotates, but hopefully you guys aren't too tired of it yet. We opened up Protean Hulk, which is a pretty cool rare. Maybe not the most, crazy powerful, but reasonable for sure. You play it and it's hard for your opponent to really deal with it effectively. You get 6/6 if they can't kill it, and if they do kill it, you tend to get a bunch of other pretty good creatures as well. I also haven't really played green in the format, so this is probably a good excuse. I think Ancient Craving is quite good. I've been impressed by the Iwawamori of the Open Fist. This card, usually you don't get punished for it, and 5/5 for 4 with Trample is definitely big game. But yeah, let's take the Protean Hulk. Ooh. Following it up with Nicol Bolas, which I think unfortunately is not all that playable, but definitely a cool card. What do we want here? This pack I think is worse than our last one, certainly. We could take something like Pillory of the Sleepless. I think that's the highest power level card here, although it's unlikely to work great with Protean Hulk. Maybe we should just take it because it's early on in the draft. Quicksand can be fine. I mean, there's a bunch of cards here that are decent role players. I don't mind Pacifism. But maybe we should just take Pacifism over Pillory if we're going to be a little bit open on our colors. Sure, I'd like to play the Protean Hulk if at all possible, so let's take Pacifism. Alright, and in this one we've got Goblin War Drums, which I think is pretty legit if you are in an aggressive deck, although really not playable outside of it. We have a Self-Assembler, which I keep thinking I want to try and make into a deck. It's kind of interesting, this is the second Rashad import we've seen too. But I think you really do need a number of them, and even then it may not be absurdly powerful or anything in the format. This is cool, though. I also do Kabu Climber, which is just a very, reasonably solid green card. Naya the Skyward Eye, not bad if we're in white-green, although I think this will wheel. I think I'm actually going to take Self-Assembler. I think it is better than Kabu Climber, certainly. You do need to build around it a little bit more, but it's early in the deck. Well, let's try Self-Assembler. We get a couple of these, then it really will start to tick. So here, you take Epic Confrontation, which is fine removal. I think it's about as good as green gets, although obviously the green removal is a lot worse than something like Murder. We also take Watchwolf. This is just very underrated, obviously. It's possible that we'd want to play a white-green sort of aggressive deck, although Protean Hulk definitely rewards you for getting to the late game, and so does Self-Assembler. And I think I've been less impressed by aggressive decks unless you've got some really good payoffs, either at rare or things like Goblin War Drums. I guess we're just going to take Epic Confrontation here. Seems okay. Stampede Driver can be pretty good too. If you can go really wide, there are a number of cards that allow you to do that. Maybe Stampede Driver's better. I think I have Epic Confrontation though. Okay. What do we have here? Path of Peace is definitely tempting. Regrowth is pretty good. Kavu Predator is obviously pretty fantastic if your opponent has any sort of life gain synergies, although I think there's a couple of cards in the set, I'm trying to think of what they are now, that you allow your opponent to gain life, and I guess Kavu Predator's pretty good at that. We could also just take Colossal Dreadmaw as a big beastie. I think Path of Peace is probably just a fine removal spell here, though. I never quite know what to do with Regrowth, although it is a powerful effect. Okay, Iwamori coming around is definitely a nice signal for us. Krosan Colossus is obviously huge, but I'm actually a little bit surprised this card's uncommon. I guess you can use Cloud Shift to flip it up early on, and then it is a 9/9, it's huge, but it doesn't have Trample or anything. If your opponent's got any removal or bounce, it still answers it pretty well. Yeah, it's never really felt like an uncommon to me. Let's take Iwamori here, though. It's another Nicol Bolas, too. Kind of funny. Couple of double rares. Wow, so there's some good blue here. Fathom Seer is fantastic, Horseshoe Crab's good. I really like Brute Hatch Nantuko, though. This has the potential to make you an absolutely absurd amount of insects. On the off chance that we were to get the discard a card, give your team +1/+1 back, it would be great. And I think it's just a very solid card in general, so happy to see it. Yeah, I think green seems open at least. We've got Inox Survivalist here, which is perfectly playable. It's a 2/1 for 2, and it's obviously fantastic if you get to snipe an artifact or enchantment, so I think this is something you'll play in just about every deck. kind of a late Phyrexian goal. I'd really like to make the Phyrexian goal sacrifice thing work at some point, although I'm not sure that deck has quite enough legs. Well, there's an assembly worker to go with our self-assembler. It's also a Knight of the Skyward Eye, and I guess Nettle Sentinel, although I don't think Nettle Sentinel is really a thing. Disenchant's obviously worse if we have the Survivalist, since this is like a naturalize on a stick. We're going to take the assembly worker here. We're going to try and make self-assembler work. It may not, but if we get a couple of these effects, that is powerful for sure. Yeah, I think this is a reasonable first step to the draft for us here. Guess I'll take Vessel of Nascency. I mean, it's kind of slow unless you really do care about filling up your graveyard, which I don't think white-green cares as much about as, say, like white-black does. Although, we're definitely more green than white right now. And yeah, I mean, we're not taking anything else out of that for sure. Okay, so we got our pick this time. Definitely don't hate Kavu Climber. Knight, I think, may actually be better in straight white-green, although we'd have two like reasonable removal spells in white, but I'm not actually sure that we're going to play that. I kind of like being more or less mono-green and having the opportunity to shift. Don't hate Giant Growth. I think we'll take Watch Wolf here, though. Giant Growth is pretty replaceable, and if we are in white-green, Watch Wolf is good. It's kind of nice just being able to say, hey, I want to be in for a bomb rare if we open it next pack, though. Regrowth? No, I don't know here, honestly. We haven't gotten any of the ramp cards. I think it's going to take Regrowth. Okay, and there is Croson Colossus. We got Big Daddy. And Disenchant. Yeah, I mean, green felt absurdly open. Pretty much everything wheeled there. Wow. And we opened up a Master of the Wild Hunt. That is just gas. Yeah, I don't think there's anything we would take in the pack over this. It provides tons of value. If your opponent can kill it, they can kill it. But if it sits in play for more than a turn or two, the game is just over. I definitely don't hate Pernicious Deed, although I think we're going to be too heavy on creatures to be real excited about that. Woolly Loxodon's fine. We'd play Loyal Sentry. Yeah, Master of the Hunt. Sounds cool. I don't think we're quite on the Gisela hype train, even though this is a very cool card. It would... I don't know. That's pretty expensive and not like absurd. So I'm not actually sure what we take out of this pack, though. I mean, Prophetic Prism is fine for splashing. I think I was kind of high on Chrono Zealot when the form was first starting, but it has seemed less and less good kind of the longer I've played it lately. God's Willing is perfectly fine. I guess it's kind of nice with like Master of the Wild Hunt we're trying to save it, although nothing else we really care if it gets killed. And I think we'll get more chances at God's Willing. I think I do kind of want a Prophetic Prism, though. Gazelle is powerful. Costs 7 mana, though. We've just seen, like, none of the really good, like, green ramp cards. Yeah, I'm gonna take Prism. Maybe that's crazy. Brute Hatch Neon Tuco, I think, again, is just gonna be the pickup here. There's a lot of blue in this pack, but I think this is great for our deck. Helps us survive early and gets us going later. I am Ambassador Oak, also not bad, but I think we're just going to take another Brute Hatch Nantuko. I really don't... I mean, I guess it's maybe not great if your opponent's going all in the air, because it doesn't provide a huge clock. But I think it's still better than, like, Ambassador Oak here. Although flyers do matter an awful lot in this set, so maybe I should be valuing them a little bit more highly here. Well, I imagine we'll get to wheel one of these Vessels of Nascency if we want it. We've got Core Firewalker, very good sideboard card against aggressive decks, although I feel like we're a pretty nice spot against aggressive decks already. Perilous Mirror is kind of the same. Echoing Courage, I guess, with triple Brute Hatch Nantuko might be kind of cool. It's probably going a little bit deep. Yeah, I'm honestly not really sure what to pick here. I guess maybe we take the Mirror. This is probably just generally the best of the three, and it's colorless, which isn't huge, but it's kind of nice. There's Zombify, which ordinarily I would say is maybe even worth switching into black for, but we actually don't have any of the cyclers that really make it great. On the other hand, what are we taking here? Like, I guess Dauntless Cathar? Our white is decent. We've got Watchwolf, which is obviously pretty powerful, Pacifism, Path of Peace. And I'm not sure we've got like good odds on getting a Krosan Tusker or anything at this point. Although green does seem open. Guess we're just gonna take the Cather, and we'll just consign ourselves to playing white. I think we'll take Ash Barrens. That still goes along well with Prophetic Prism, and having the option to splash something is pretty nice. We've got, I mean, Colossal Dreadmaws obviously would be pretty reasonable. I think there's a chance we'll wheel another one though. God's Willing also. Ash Barrens is a little bit, like, less for sure that we'll get it back. That's funny. Chalice of the Void is obviously a very valuable card, but not real fantastic in draft. So we have Cloud Shift. We've only got one morph. I mean, I guess it's pretty good with Kavu Climber. Find the Self-Assembler, although we may not even be playing this at this point. I mean, Geist of the Moors might just be better. I feel like Cloud Shift is sweeter, although we don't really have any flyers. We don't really have any morphs. Yeah, let's take Cloud Shift. I think there's some pretty sweet synergies that could come together, like with Woolly Loxodon, for example. I think we'll take it over Cloud Shift. Just give us a little bit more beef on the top end. And we found God's Willing, which I think also might make the cut. I feel like the deck is definitely open. So if we open, or if this next pack has powerful picks for us, I think we'll get them. Ambassador Oak, Kavu Climber, Griffin Protector. I think we actually might want Griffin Protector at this point. We might just need some flying defense. Although Ambassador Oak is obviously good. And I think we're going to take the Firewalker over the Vessel. Vessel, again, I think is fine, but a lot worse if you don't care about your graveyard. And Firewalker, now that we're pretty sure we're going to be in white, is a pretty good sideboard card. And Ember Weaver. Alright, so we've got Hell's Caretaker, which, I mean, obviously is one of the best things in the cycling deck. I would like to make that a thing, although I think that we don't really have any plays for that, and just splashing randomly into black is probably not correct. We've got Fiend Hunter or Iwamori. I'm actually not sure which I like better. They're both great. Also, like, there's a good chance we'll wheel like Woolly Loxodon out of this pack, for instance. I guess Fiend Hunter works well with Cloud Shift, and maybe if we maybe if we're still ending up with a couple more morphs that might like wheel, maybe we just pick Cloud Shift pretty highly. This is also legendary, which means it's a little bit worse in multiples. I think I'm gonna take Fiend Hunter. I could see that pack or that pick going either way though. Rurik Thar the Unbowed. I kind of feel like we're splashing for this guy. I mean, we have the Ash Barrens, we have a Prophetic Prism. Rurik Thar is obviously super, super tough. Yeah, I mean, 6/6 for 6 with Vigilance, and the fact that if our opponent tries to remove it, they're almost certainly just taking 6 damage. Seems good. Qing Ming Sleeping Dragon. I mean, we do have a lot of creatures. We do have some Brood Hutch Nantukos, which may end up getting there. I think Rurik Thar is still better? Question mark? Pretty good. I really wish we'd seen some of the like ramp in the set. Well, actually, Arbor Elf is a pretty great pickup. I think we want it more than Brood Hatch Nantuko and Krosan Colossus, since we've only got the one Cloud Shift right now. Yeah, I mean, I think Arbor Elf is just what this deck needs. So even though there are other great picks here, I mean, even Treasure Keeper is very solid. We want a little bit of ramp since we've got such high top end. Animar Soul of the Elements is a little bit interesting, although that might be a bit ambitious too. Do we want Ambassador Oak or Survivalist? We have a lot of 2-drops. Survivalist is very good when you're flipping it, a little bit less exciting outside of it. Might just take the Ambassador Oak here. Yeah, let's take the Oak, I guess. I could see that being correct either way. Okay, so Geist of the Moors, I guess, is probably the pickup here now. Again, we're just pretty light on flying defenders, so it might be nice to shore that up a little bit, since I think flyers are one of the big things you have to be able to answer. We've also got, I guess, Assembly Worker, but I think a self-assembler is really best when you're self-assembling into other self-assemblers, and we have some good top end already, so I think these guys may not be making the cut anyway. Let's take Geist of the Moors. In this pack, we've got Colossal Dreadmaw, or we could just finally take a Knight of the Skyward Eye. Probably should. We've passed on a lot of these, but this is very powerful. It's a 2-drop that manages to turn into a 5/5 when we want it to a little bit later in the game. That's fine. There's 2 conflicts in this, like, rotation too. Feels like we've seen a lot of duplicate rares. Ooh, and Cultivate. That's fantastic. Dauntless Cathar would be good too, but yeah, can't say no to a Cultivate. And another one. Ooh, cool. Also, a Souza Lost But Seeking can play a bajillion lands. I think Cultivate might be better than this, honestly. Is that crazy? Probably. I think Cultivate's better, though. I mean, this is card advantage. A Souza or Zuza means you really do need to find more green sources, which is not always easy. Let's take Cultivate. If we picked these up earlier in the draft, I would have been a little bit more liberal with the cards that we chose to take, too, but we didn't see them until kind of late. I think we're going to take Iwamori here over Woolly Loxodon, and probably just not play Cloud Shift, which means we're not playing things like Kroos and Colossus for sure. Another Knight sounds reasonable. Could do Colossal Dreadmaw, although our top end feels pretty good. Let's make sure we have plays in the early game. Another Griffin Protector. We don't have, like, any Giant Growth, so we're actually kind of light on removal. We just picked up Pacifism and Path of Peace early on, and I guess Fiend Hunter. So maybe we need the combat trick to help us get through. It's pretty good with Broodhatch Nantuko. Yeah, actually I kind of want 1 Giant Growth, I think. Griffin Protector would obviously be fine. Loyal Sentry. Not sure either of these are actually getting played, since we've got quite a few cards in the 2-drop slot already. I think we're going to be on the aggressive in the early portion of the game most of the time. I guess Presence of... sure, Presence of Gond. If your opponent has, like, very good defensive, but bad removal, which sounds like kind of a weird deck, I guess, Presence of Gond would be good against that deck. And Dauntless Cathar. Okay, well, like I said, I feel like we were wide open on green and pretty open on white, so we actually ended up with 32 playables, and I guess that's not even count things like Cloud Shift or the Firewalker, things that we definitely could just play main deck. Yeah, I mean, I guess the only cards that were truly off color is we have 2 in the whole sideboard. It's kind of nuts. Well, I'm going to go ahead and play around with the deck a little bit, and I'll be back in just a second with an updated list. That's maybe a little bit easier to manage with the last few cuts. Okay, so we've cut down a little bit. I'm obviously not 100% sure on these cuts. All the cards in our deck look good, which is nice. We cut Perilous Mirror and Prophetic Prism just because I think we need to cut some amount of 2-drops. I actually cut out 2 of our Broodhatch Nantukos despite taking them pretty early. This will be a great sideboard option if we're playing a more aggressive deck. But if we're supposed to be more proactive in the early game, the Nantukos actually don't do much, like if we're just playing against a Flyers deck or the like. Perilous Mirror I took out for the same reason. Honestly, maybe the Mirror is just better than the Nantuko, but then Nantuko can't always be a 2/2 if you need it to be 2. I guess maybe we should consider these as like 3/3s or 3-drops. So maybe we want a little bit farther. Maybe we cut like 1 Dauntless Cathar and bring in like 1 more Nantuko, and then just the diversity of being able to play them as a 2 or a 3 is kind of nice. Cut 1 of our Cultivates and cut like Kroos and Colossus. We do want, I think, 1 Cultivate. Is that maybe not enough splashing for Urukthar? It is. He does cost 6, so we're not going to be playing it really early. Between that and Ash Barrens, I think that'll be enough. Cultivate actually, because we didn't end up with tons and tons of top end, because we didn't see the Cultivate till really late in the draft, so I didn't go towards like the Dreadmaws like maybe we would have if we'd known. So Cultivate actually doesn't hit that much on our top end. Like Woolly Loxodon can be a 3-drop. Protean Hulk and Rollickthar are kind of expensive, but I think we've got a decent chance of getting there anyway. I can't believe we're cutting a Cultivate, but I think that's correct. So I'm kind of down to 1 more cut here. I like keeping Giant Growth. I like keeping I guess all of the spells we have down there currently. Oh, I also cut one God's Willing. We might bring it in if we're in a heavy removal matchup. Although most of our creatures are kind of expendable. Master of the Wild Hunt is really the one that comes to mind that isn't, but I think of what we got to. I'm gonna cut Griffin Protector. Nah, maybe Ambassador Oak's just worse. I think we need the flyer. Okay, I think I am calling this as our 23. It's a little bit unfortunate that we don't have any way to deal with Flood in the late game. I mean, things like Woolly Lockstone do help a little bit with that, but we don't have a ton of great ways to get rid of extra lands and the like. We've also got kind of a curve, so I'm not sure I really want to play like... Or I guess we have kind of a high top end on the curve, so I'm not sure we really want to play 16 lands either. I think I'm going to start with this, but we'll see how it performs and maybe shift it just a little bit before match through, but let's start with this. So Ash Barrens is coming in, 1 mountain's all that's needed. Deck recommends a lot more on green than white. Don't think we can go quite that far since we do have double white for like Fiend Hunter and Geist of the Moors, but Arbor Elf and Cultivate do definitely encourage more green. So I think I might do like 9-6-1. Yeah, let's start with that, I think. Okay, I think the deck's cool. I think it's opened. Rurik Thar is one of my favorite cards, actually, from when I was getting back into Magic. So, happy to see that. I actually didn't even know it was in the set until now. But, yeah, I'm excited. See you guys for match 1. We are back for match 1. We've won the dice roll, and we would like to play first. And I think we got an okay hand here. A little awkward because of the Ash Barrens and how expensive our curve is just in general. I think this hand's okay. I think it's good enough. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. It's a 2-lander that really needs a little bit of help to get going, but we do have 2 of our most powerful cards in the deck, in Master of Wild Hunt and Rurik Thar. Yeah. Really want to draw lands. That's kind of basic enemy number 1. We're not going to use Ash Barrens here. Okay. I guess we will now... Using Ash Barrens takes 1 more land out of the deck, which is a little bit unfortunate. But I don't really just want to play it as colorless when we need both white and red too. I think I'm going to go and find white and hope we can come across red naturally later on. But this will give us pacifism at the very least. And yeah, I'm really crossing our fingers for lands. If we find 1 more, we can start playing morphs and then we're not embarrassed. Okay, Knight of the Skyward Eye is perfectly reasonable, certainly. Well, Arbor Elf sorta counts. Definitely a clunky start here, though. My opponent's playing Knight of the Skyward Eye in just straight, like, white-red. That means they've got to be pretty aggressive. If they've got removal here, I definitely would recommend using it on the Arbor Elf. Since we do seem to be hurting a little bit for mana. Okay, Assembly Worker. Alright, so we've got 3 mana now. We could play Broodhatch Nantuko, which is a nice, like, stalling card. I guess that's probably the play. We could morph something like Woolly Loxodon instead and hope to try and play like 2 spells in the turn coming forward. Although if we get to 4, we're just going to play Iwamori. So maybe just Broodhatch Nantuko is not all bad. It doesn't actually trade, it just makes some tokens. Maybe trading off is a little bit better. I think the Loxodon has less chance of actually making it onto the battlefield here, whereas the Broodhatch Nantuko has a chance. Oops, I just forget how annoying Arbor Elf is on Magic Online. I think we're going to start with this, because I actually kind of just want to trade this off for something. So, clunky start, but I think we can still get there. If we do find a couple more lands, we're going to have a lot of good plays going forward. And my opponent had a good start, but not an absurd start, so... I think I'm just going to trade with Assembly Worker here. It looks like the Knight is really just a 2/2 for 2 in this deck. They've got a trick, they've got a trick. Okay. Oh, well... Should have traded for the knight. Oh well. Double Prophetic Prism. It's kind of an odd start too. Yeah, in retrospect, maybe the odds of them just having green randomly is more dangerous than the assembly worker value. Oh, we did find another land, which is great. I think I'm going to play Iwamori first. My opponent wants to trade their entire turn getting there. That's probably not all bad for us. This is, of course, assuming that they don't have a legendary creature. If they do, we'll be pretty sad, but most opponents won't. And now my opponent could use their whole turn to trade the knight up. Yeah, man, I really probably should have blocked the knight. Especially because this is just so much worse for us if my opponent can turn it on, whereas assembly worker is annoying. Like being able to give a +1/+1 is fine. Oh man, opponent has something. Grenzo Dungeon Warden. It's a 2/2, and put the bottom card of your library into the battlefield. It's a creature card. Interesting. And Self-Assembler. Okay, so opponent's not playing for the knight just yet. That was good value with Grenzo. So bottom card of your library into your graveyard. And if it's powers 2 or less, they just get to put it on the battlefield. Seems good. Well, I guess on the plus side, my opponent can't attack us with Self-Assembler with Assembly Worker backup, but I think that's a small consolation at this point. So did we play Master of the Wild Hunt yet? I think my opponent's got removal. They're likely to use it next turn and try and get in for a big attack. We could just play the Survivalist and flip it up and kill off Assembly or Self-Assembler, which is nice. My opponent went and got another Self-Assembler, so that's going to be on the way. Yeah, I think I'm going to sandbag the Master of the Wild Hunt one more turn. We're going to morph the Survivalist and plan flipping it up and killing an Assembler. And maybe getting in a not terrible block. Not going to attack here. I think we do have the upper hand as the game goes along. And I think this deck actually is probably going to be at its best in sort of a ground poundy game, so my opponent's game plan being mostly on the ground I think is good for us. Okay. I mean, I think we're just going to block with Iwamori and say, yeah, I mean, you get good value out of this, but that's okay. I think that my opponent probably is not on removal, otherwise they may have just killed this and come in with a more aggressive attack. And this sucks a little bit, but I didn't really want to use pacifism on it, and I don't really see a way we get around it otherwise, so yeah, that's fine. No play for my opponent, although they did tap mana right there at the end. Let's untap our forest, flip the morph up, kill off my opponent's Self-Assembler. Ooh, do they have something? God's Willing. Okay. I mean, that's good for my opponent. It's not embarrassing for us, but I definitely will get the job done. So this next turn we find a land, we can play Master of the Wild Hunt and the Broodhatch Nantuko, which is kind of nice. Alternatively, we can play the Nantuko face down, although we can't turn it up there. I think, like I said, if my opponent had removal, I feel like they probably would have used it to try and kill off Iwamori. So maybe Master of the Wild Hunt's just good, and actually having Giant Growth now is kind of sweet too. Because now if they try and use at least like red-based removal, Giant Growth will keep it alive. If they have like Path of Peace, it's going to be unfortunate. But let's see if we can't resolve this Master of the Wild Hunt. Path to Exile obviously would be great. Hopefully my opponent took a while reading that because they're like, man, this just wrecks me, not because, man, it's going to be so sweet to cast Path of Exile at the end of turn. Okay, they didn't cast that at least. That's one potential answer out of the way. No Path of Peace. You want a Lightning Bolted, I'm fine with that. As long as you don't do it twice, I guess. Ooh, are we getting going? Okay, looks like we might be getting going here. I think I just want to say the Giant Growth to try and keep the Master alive. I'll take 4 damage here, and that's fine. if this survives, we're just so far ahead. So yeah, like, this is gonna feel sweet. Oops. Just use the Arbor Elf correctly. I'm gonna do this so many times, I apologize in advance. So waiting did turn out well for this there. My opponent probably had Chandra's Outrage for a while. Giant Growth keeping it alive is solid. Nice. And we're gonna always yield to this. So my opponent can always have the wolves, like, kill each other, I guess. So I guess if I attack my opponent with a wolf, they're still gonna be able to kill off wolves. It's not truly a one-sided fight or anything like that. Still can't cast Rurik Thar, although I think that the choice to get planes way back when was probably still correct. But we do have Broodhatch and Nantuko, which we can turn face up now. I think we're gonna swing... I guess we could just use the wolf to kill off Grenzo. I guess we swing with the Survivalist here. What could my opponent have that would really blow us out if we swung with the Master? Is there a green pump spell in the set? Oh, sorry, a white pump spell? I can't remember. I think we're not going to risk it, although that might be a free attack. Yeah, let's cast our Nantuko face down. Okay. So my opponent's doing this. I think we're going to tap and kill it in response. That means my opponent can't get any value out of it, I don't think. Wait, oh, I guess it counts from the beginning. That's kind of unfortunate. I mean, we couldn't have played around that. They were going to get value out of it at some point anyway, but that was unfortunate. I guess it checks what his power is before, like, the ability actually resolves. I can never quite tell when cards work like that, where it checks upon resolution, or checks beforehand, but... yeah, we're just gonna chump block here and flip this face up and make a bunch of insects. Loyal Sentry is good, but actually it's not fantastic on this board. Oh. Just use the stupid Arbor Elf. Okay. White Mane Lion. Okay, just bring back Self-Assembler. I think that's fine. My opponent's got more Self-Assemblers to get in their deck. It's obviously pretty good value. I think they... don't they still have one in hand? I think they do. They just have had too many things to play. Alright, so obviously finding red at any point would be fantastic for us. Cool. Do we want to cast Pacifism before we cast Rurik Thar? Or are we just going to trust that Rurik Thar is big enough, scary enough, mean enough? My opponent's probably just going to trade it off, since they're going to have another Self-Assembly. But actually, it's pretty bad against Loyal Sentry, though, isn't it? So maybe we need to Pacifism the Loyal Sentry? Or I guess we can use a wolf to kill it. Yeah, I guess that's probably better. So maybe, like, Pacifism, Self-Assembler, use a wolf to kill... and then next turn we can use a wolf to kill the other White Mane Lion, and then maybe Rurik Thar starts getting through. My opponent's got like a great flyer, we kind of want to keep Pacifism, although it's so bad when we've got Rurik Thar too. Yeah, let's get rid of that. And we're gonna have the Loyal Sentry get killed by a wolf. And then we're gonna attack with our Survivalist. Opponent may well trade off, in which case I'm pretty okay with that. Nope, no blocks for my opponent. We don't have quite enough to cast Rurik Thar, so I'll have to wait till next turn. The next turn we'll have two wolves we can use to try and pick off Self-Assemblers or like too. You see, Master of the Wild Hunt does pretty good work when it sits in play. Okay, and opponent concedes. I don't think that's unreasonable there. I'm not sure what was in their hand, but I think that having the Giant Growth to counter the Chandra's Outrage really kind of was the turning point in this game. And we managed to fight through a kind of a slow start, so hopefully we'll be even better off in this next game. What do we want to sideboard? Opponent's got a lot of like reasonably sized threats. I do think that the Brute Hatch Nantuko is probably good. Perilous Mirror would have had some reasonable targets this game as well. One didn't show us tons of flyers, didn't show us much for Firewalker either. There, it looks like they're just kind of splashing maybe a removal spell or two. We maybe would want Loyal Sentry, although, again, I feel like having the opportunity to go on the aggressive isn't all that bad. And Sentry's bad on the aggressive. Nantuko Hatch, or Brute Hatch Nantuko's at least okay, because it can be a 2-2. Not really sure what to take out for it, though, honestly. Yeah, maybe. Maybe having a ton of those in hand maybe isn't fantastic, too. Alright, let's run it back. Okay, a very similar hand to last game in that we have 2 lands and one of them is Ash Barrens. But we also have a kind of a lower curve in general, so I'm even happier with this hand. We're also on the draw, so that gives us a higher chance of finding something like Plains before we have to make the decision on Ash Barrens. Okay. Opponent does not have a start here. Okay, so if we had cycled the Ash Barrens, we could play the Knight there, but I'd really kind of like to stall finding white as long as we can. Just because we always have the option to get red later on. But I think the time may have come, since we didn't draw it on this one. We just need to go and actually find a white source. Next turn we can play Brute Hatch Nantuko. Morphed, I guess, if we'd like. Let's pass. So again, not like the cleanest opening, but not terrible either. So another white source is kind of unfortunate, but I guess it was the shuffle, right? Who knows what it could have been. So now we're actually one step away from playing Iwamori. I think we're just going to cast the Nantuko face down here and offer a trade. We don't get any value out of this, but I think I'm okay trading even though my opponent can't make a spirit down the road. Next turn, we are going to play Iwamori and hope my opponent doesn't have Krenko, I think was the card. Something like that. Again. Or a worse legendary, obviously, would be worse too, but come on, nothing. Okay, nothing. Great. So we just get our 4-4, or our 5-5 Trampler for 4 for perfect value. Yeah. Pacifism answers it pretty cleanly, but that's okay. It looks like they might be stuck on mana here. They are. Ooh, the Survivalist is good, although we're actually a mana away from really getting going too. I think we're still going to play it though. Just being able to blow up the Pacifism is going to be super sweet. Leave up Giant Growth for sure. And pass. Prophetic Prism, helping my opponent fix their lands and probably go and try and find another land drop as well. Well, it looks like they may have bricked again. So, I mean, we're going to hit for a fair amount this next turn. And we're still going to play Knight of the Skyward Eye to go along with it. Swing for 8. Yeah, this might be tough. Okay, we actually even found other lands. We can play Geist of the Moors, which I think is... I guess it's more mana efficient. Probably still better. Alright, rest in peace pacifism. And Iwamori is unchained. Swing for roughly $1 billion here. I guess actually Geist of the Moors runs into the Spirit pretty embarrassingly. Maybe let's play the Knight instead. That at least can continue to attack. And I guess we're actually threatening lethal. Yeah. Opponent looks like they just could not find their 4th land that second game. Alright, well, match 1 is in the books. Already loving our Inox Survivalist for sure. Did good work both games. And yeah, I mean, cool. Done with match 1. See you guys in a second for match 2. Alright, we're back for match 2. We're getting used to this one Forest Ashburns opening hand, but I think we're still keeping it. Opponent's playing first, and they mulligan down to 6. I think we are definitely getting white out of this hand. There's no point in waiting, because we do have Fiend Hunter and Geist of the Moors, which are double white. Ooh, they will play Savannah Lions. Ooh, looks like they're getting going early. Brute-Hatch Nantuko for 2 might just be pretty solid here. Oh, Unfound Plains. Nice. I think we're still going to use the Ashburns to go and find a Plains, though. Yeah, we just want to be able to cast Fiend Hunter on time for sure. Well, again, I think if my opponents are playing kind of aggressive beatdown decks, that actually plays into this deck's strength. I think we'll do more poorly against slower, control-y, flyery decks. So, Savannah Lions is actually, well, it's a really good turn 1 play for my opponent. It's something that I'm kind of happy about, too. Okay, Knight of the Skyward Eye. Obviously pretty solid. But Brute-Hatch Nantuko is going to do a really good job of stalling the offensive here. Yeah, we're just going to get Plains. I don't think we really want to get fancy here. Well, there's another Plains. Yeah. Oh well. We've got them. That's the important thing. And yeah, Nantuko is going to do a great job here. Probably blanks the Savannah Lions attack. If it eats removal, I'm not truly sad about that. Especially given that we're going to maybe play Fiend Hunter next turn. Yeah, we're just going to block here. Save some life, split into a couple of other 1/1s. Yes, we would like to use the ability. Thank you. Looks like my opponent's maybe stuck on colors here, especially post-mulligan. Well, they do have a 1/2/3. That's pretty good. Another Brood-Hatch. Or we could just cast Fiend Hunter. If they have a way to remove the Fiend Hunter, obviously it's much less exciting. As it stands right now, they could kind of, well, no, I guess Fiend Hunter blocks fairly well too. We get rid of the Knight here. Yeah, I think this seems okay. At the very worst, I guess the Knight will be summoning sick. Yeah, I think we're in a good spot here. We're up on cards in reasonable amount because of my opponent's mulligan, but we've also just got like bigger threats in the deck in general, I think. Okay, opponent cycling Noble Templar. Unfortunately for Plains here. I find it unlikely that they're mono white, but I guess you don't never know for sure. They did have a really good white curve out, so maybe. So this is good for my opponent, but we'll still trade for sure. My opponent gets to make a 1/1 Spirit, but Griffin Protector will hopefully blank that. Ooh, nice, and even found a mountain on time. Yeah, I think we're just going to play Griffin Protector and pass here. And then next turn we can play Geist of the Moors and a Brood-Hatch again, which is pretty good. Yeah, this card does just such a good job if they're trying to beat it on the ground of just kind of stalling. And end up trading for, I guess, half a card and saving us 5 life. Yeah, 2/3 of a card. I think the 3/2 is better than the Spirit half, but you wouldn't pay a 3 mana for 1/1 Spirit. Okay. Opponent not brave enough to bluff. Half the piece is good too. I'm going to play our Brood-Hatch Nantuko and a Geist of the Moors, and then swing for 4 with the Griffin Protector. And the fact that we have a Geist of the Moors in play might just mean my opponent can't realistically swing with the Spirit. And we're actually only 1 mana away from casting Woolly Loxodon if we morph it first, so that's going to be obviously pretty big. We've had 2 games in a row now that we kind of are taking our opponent's poor mana we've got 2 games in a row now where we're kind of taking advantage of our opponent's poor mana, but I guess better them than us. Path the Beast on the Griffin Protector. Not going for the Fiend Hunter, although I guess they don't have green. Okay. I mean, I guess we could swing with the Broodhatch Nantuko, but I really don't think we have to. I'm just gonna morph the Woolly Loxodon here. And pass the turn. Obviously the Spirit Token fares very well against Geist of the Moors, but it is what it is. I don't think we have to be overly aggressive there. Maybe my opponent is mono white. No way, right? Like, just can't be. Okay, this does cost 6 to flip up, right? Yep. I guess let's swing with it. Hopefully make a mess of some of my opponent's creatures. Maybe they'll like multi-block. Oh wow, Protean Hulk's great. If they don't block, we'll probably just play that. Oh no, we're still 1 mana short. Never mind. Almost. So yeah, we're just gonna flip up Mrs. Woolly Loxodon here. Is that a Mrs.? I don't know. Mrs. Mr. something or other. I don't think you've got anything that's gonna blow me out. Hope not, anyway. If it's a morph up for 1 white that does absurd things. Looks like it's something. Cloud Shift. Okay. Opponent getting their own Woolly Loxodon. Fair enough. Theirs will get Path of Peace here, although it does look like they are indeed white-green. Yeah, Cloud Shift did some good work there. Bought my opponent a lot of mana, certainly. They can't really swing into the Broodhatch Hatchling, or Broodhatch Nantuko, though. At least I imagine they can't. Yeah. Man, they've been incredibly unlucky with lands here, though. Okay, so do we Path the Peace or do we just play Protean Hulk? Kind of like just casting the Hulk. Yeah. And then we can Path the Peace next turn and swing with both of them for a bunch. Opponent says mana would be nice. Yeah, I mean, they're 14 cards into their deck and they haven't found green. Like, they've actually had a pretty good draw, all things considered, but that is rough. Yeah. Enough that I would, if I was in my opponent's position, be incredibly tilted. Okay, Geist of the Moors. Okay, I guess we've got Path of Peace plus Cultivate here. We are just going to Path of Peace the Loxodon away. And we swing with both, and we're actually consigning ourselves to maybe some like reasonable multi-blocks by my opponent, but it's going to give us a lot of advantage too. Yeah, it's tough. It like turns off their night too, which ordinarily would be pretty good this late in the game. Yeah, that's great for me. Very okay trading away 3 reasonable creatures, even if it is for 1 big one. And let's cast a Cultivate. Pull a couple lands out of the deck. And I guess, like, do we care on colors for any reason? I don't think we really do. I guess forests may be more important. But yeah, this is like a whole new level of mana screw over there for sure. Okay, so ground pounding white-green. They are playing Cloud Shift shenanigans. Maybe we should be too, but let's bring in that Broodhatch Nantuko. I think that it performed quite well for us. Dauntless Cathar, maybe just for a little bit of extra flying oomph. Loyal Sentry is good against the big stuff too. What seems bad here? Giant Growth doesn't feel particularly exciting. I guess if we're ending up in like massive multi-block scenarios though, it's maybe good. Geist of the Moors didn't feel particularly good, although I'm not sure how many Dauntless Cathars they have, or if that was just kind of a bad game for it. I think we're going to cut it all the same. We didn't see anything for the Inox Survivalist, but it seems likely that they have like some amount of passivisms or something. Yeah, I don't know, I keep trying to find room for the Broodhatch Nantuko, but honestly maybe it's just having 3 is a bit too much. I think they are maybe worse in multiples. I don't know, maybe hard to say. Let's run this back. So I guess all we ended up changing was Geist of Moors for Dauntless Cathar, but seems okay. Hey, we broke our land streak. I think this hand is perfectly fine. Let's go ahead and keep it. Don't actually have Fiend Hunter turn 2, but we can play Dauntless Cathar turn 2. That's pretty good. And Iwamori is only 1 land away after that. We find white, we can play Fiend Hunter. We find red, we can play Rurik Thar. We find Cultivate, we just get to weep openly because we're so happy. Huh. That's almost Cultivate. Opponent says, yeah, I play a few for the forests. Hey, forest, they've got colors. I assume they'll probably want to trade here. I would. I mean, Loyal Sentry's even good in this matchup, but Arbor Elf I think is probably better. At least on turn 2. Yeah, let's play a Dauntless Cathar. Oops, stupid Llanowar, or stupid Arbor Elf. Llanowar Elf would not have this problem. I know they had a lot of constraints when they were making this set based on, like, what cards they could, or how many cards they could put in from each set. But it is kind of funny that there's just, like, there aren't Llanowar Elves, for instance, in this, since it feels like one of the most iconic things in Magic. So we do need to find lands. Iwamori would be great. So I'd Master the Wild Hunt for that matter. I'm playing a Morph here. No option Cloud Shift. Okay, land is good. I think we're just going to cast Iwamori, maybe play Master of the Wild Hunt a little bit later into the game. I guess let's swing with Dauntless Cathar first. Do we want to see if my opponent's got a... If they got like their own Iwamori, we miss out on damage maybe. Yeah, let's swing with the Cathar. My opponent wants to trade the Loyal Sentry for it. I am a-okay with that too. I doubt they will, but maybe the Morph. Nope. I guess Iwamori's kind of bad against Loyal Sentry. Maybe just trying to resolve the Master of the Wild Hunt's pretty good. They could have Path of Peace next turn. If we have the Master of the Wild Hunt out, though, Loyal Sentry just ceases to be meaningful, and we can maybe kill my opponent's Morph before they can flip it too. I think we're gonna go for it. Gosh darn it. Stupid Arbor Elf. Someday, I promise, guys. I will not make this mistake. It's the Coalition relic of this draft. So yeah, mostly hoping for no Path of Peace. They obviously could have it here, but if they don't, I think we get pretty far ahead pretty quickly. And they're tapping aggressively. Okay, nope, that's good. Knight of the Skyward Eye doesn't do all that much. Yeah, we're just taking that. My opponent perhaps correctly bluffing here, because yeah, we're not gonna risk this to like a giant growth, even though they probably don't have it. But yeah, Master of the Wild Hunt's pretty powerful. Alright, so this turn we could tap the wolf, kill the knight. How much do we care about the morph? I kind of feel like we want to kill the morph. Well, this is going to potentially be big going forward too. Let's see. Big things they could have, let's like Woolly Loxodon, which means they're still a turn away. Let's maybe swing first. No, what could they have for flash? They could have Cloud Shift, in which case they bring back like big morph. That's true. So Cloud Shift would be bad for us. I think we kill the knight. Maybe we don't even swing. We could try and kill the morph and then see if they flip it. No, let's just kill Knight of the Skyward Eye here. I think this is a fairly conservative play, but I don't hate it either. The question is, though, do we swing with the Dauntless Cathar and risk it just being eaten by a Woolly Loxodon? They would have to have Cloud Shift in hand, but they might. I guess it's a 1-for-1 plus a big tempo edge for my opponent. Woolly Loxodon would be big. I think we can't afford to play into it, honestly. Let's just wait. As long as the Master of the Wild Hunt is in play, we're gaining value. Let's not try and, or give my opponent the opportunity to really wreck us with a great tempo advantage. So yeah, this might be overly conservative, but I'm not gonna swing here. Again, they just really have to find an answer to this card, or it'll take over anyway. If they find an answer, then maybe we'll start playing a little bit more aggressively, a little bit riskier. We've had a great curve out. We went 1, 3, 4, 4. Oh no. Oh man, we should have gone for it. Destroyed. Okay. Hard to know. Hard to play around everything, certainly. But they got us pretty good there. Yeah, there's an epic confrontation of our own. We could just punch the Loyal Sentry. That's probably best play, right? And then we'll morph Woolly Loxodon, and then we're actually going to turn away from playing it. And let's go ahead and swing with our 2 threats here. So that was good. My opponent getting the Master of the Wild Hunt off the battlefield's a big deal, but we're not doing terribly either. I mean, we still have board edge. We're even on cards. Okay, opponent willing to trade here. And let's play the... I think we're going to do this rather than try and get the token from the Dauntless Cathar. And let's pass back. So yeah, land would be a good draw just because we want to flip the Loxodon for sure. Okay, Knight. Not actually getting there quite yet. Not going to trade our Morphoid, definitely. It's a good draw. Let's swing with both of our threats. And we're just going to hold Fiend Hunter, so. But if they don't block here, they're actually just straight up dead. They have to be aware of that possibility. Yeah, I think we're in good shape this match. Something... Okay, Active Heroism. Can block 2 creatures. Fair enough. Okay, there is a white... I thought there was a white pump spell out there. Okay. I don't think there's really a reason not to flip this up. I guess it removes all doubt from my opponent, but it's also mana efficient, and we want to be able to play stuff next turn if we get the chance to next turn. Oh, and actually, that's true. We also want to flip it up because we don't want my opponent to kill it. Gosh darn it. Stupid Arbor Elf. Every time. Okay. So this is good. I mean, it keeps my opponent alive. They only take 1 point of damage. But, yeah, that is enough for my opponent there. Yeah, they had a couple of rough draws, it looks like, and we managed to take advantage of it. But, I mean, the deck's still doing what it does best. Beating up on fellow ground pounders. Okay, I will see you guys for match 3. Hello and welcome back to match 3. We have our tried and true Ash Baron's Forest start, but we also have an Arbor Elf in this hand, which makes it quite good, I think. Let's go ahead and keep. Playing against the Black Knight. Very imposing name. Yeah, we're going to play Arbor Elf this turn, and then next turn we're going to go and search for a white source, and then play Watchwolf as well. Ooh, black. Our first probably not straightforward, let's see whose creatures are bigger matchup here. We still have a fairly reasonable chance of playing like Watchwolf next turn though, and then Iwamori after that. Opponent's still maybe aggressive. Cutthroat is definitely not a card that that most control decks will play, although it is not a bad finisher if you're actually really slow and grindy too. So yeah, we're gonna tap the Forest for the Ash Barons, go and get white. Play white, untap our Forest, play Watchwolf. Next turn we have Iwamori. If my opponent doesn't have a fantastic legendary finisher, we've got a pretty good tempo edge at that point, I think. Cutthroat or no, I think we'll kill our opponent faster than 10 turns. Mishra's Factory obviously can just trade for the Watchwolf, but it does kind of use up my opponent's turn to do so. Yep, we're just taking it. No problems. Okay. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if that's the plan. I think that's actually okay, though. Alternatively, I guess we could play like Knight of the Skyward Eye and Epic Confrontation, and then swing. Although I guess it's still killing it with the Mishra's Factory. On the other hand, if we'd like Stone Rain our opponent with our 2-drop, I guess that's not bad. Swing with our Watch Wolf. And then we'll play Iwamori. And again, always cross our fingers that there's no legendary response from my opponent. There's not tons of legendaries in this set, but obviously if they drop like Nicol Bolas, we probably just lose. Okay, not willing to trade Mishra's Factory away. Darn it, one of these days. No, don't want to do that, that would have been bad. I guess we could have tapped it in response still. Anyway. We have to be careful. Alright, Iwamori. Also not impossible my opponent just, like, murders this or something here. Although it would have taken some restraint to not just kill the Watch Wolf. No, they do have it. Okay. But at least no response with a legendary creature. Petalhaven. Okay. I mean, that's basically just strict upside. Wow, my opponent's going for it here. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll go down to 14. And we've got 5 mana this time. Unfortunately, can't cast the Plains plus something. We could just Epic Confrontational. I think I'd rather get rid of another threat later. So I think we're going to cast Griffin Protector and swing with both. I don't know of anything that punishes me. It's always a little bit scary to risk the Arbor Elf like that, but I think we are actually going to be in a damage race here. Guess we could have cast Knight Epic Confrontation rather than Griffin Protector. That may have been better. It's definitely a better tempo play. Protector's kind of nice though because it blocks the factory. Ooh, well, opponent playing a wide assortment of colors here in their Mishra's Factory Petalhaven sort of deck. Alright, Street Wraith is imposing. We can actually kill it with the Griffin Protector though. And that's going to be pretty good play because we'll use the Knight, pump it up. It turns into a 3-4, then Epic Confrontation into a 4-6. Kill the Street Wraith, swing for a lot. And another Iwamori is not bad either, but I think just killing the Street Wraith and getting in for damage this turn seems better. Always yield to that. Hopefully Mutagen Growth's not in the set. I'm pretty sure it's not. That would have been a blowout. Well, I guess not even. It would have been kind of bad. Oh yeah, let's get in with Arbor Elf for sure. Takes my opponent down to 5. They gotta have something pretty good here. Like Damnation, obviously. Well, is Damnation in the set? I really should have like read the set list at some point. There are board wipes. Opponent draws with the Prophetic Prism. That's probably a good sign for us, because that means you're hoping for answers. We had a great curve this game. I mean, I cannot complain at all. We had 1, 2, 4, 4, 2 fight spell. We used up our mana very, very effectively every turn. Even through the Ash Barrens. Ruthless Ripper. Okay. Yeah, not much point in playing that as a morph. The 2 damage would be not irrelevant, but so this doesn't give trample, right? Nope. So they do have Mishra's Factory that can trade with something. The game is not over for sure. Let's swing with our Knight of the Skyward Eye. I guess is their advantage in... I think we want to do that because that forces through damage more so than the Griffin Protector. Yeah, let's do that. We're not going to be able to kill my opponent this turn, although they probably won't be able to kill us next turn. Yep. Mishra's Factory to the rescue. Petalhaven doesn't do too terribly much when my opponent's already got Death Touch. Oh, it gets +1/+2. Well, I guess that's true. I was thinking Pendelhaven was just +1/+1. That is kind of expensive. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I mean, it's a bad play tempo-wise, but I think we are still just gonna pay it here. Opponent still goes down to 3. Which means that the Griffin Protector, unless they have a removal spell, is lethal. Well, I guess that's the case anyway. Maybe we should just say, hey, that was a bad attack, and take the hit. Because if not, then these will trade. My opponent... Yeah, they'll be down to 3. They'll have this in play, but Iwamori does such a good job breaking through anyway. Like, this can go up to 3 toughness. I guess that's still not quite lethal. I guess we'll pay. They still have to have an answer for Griffin Protector this turn. Yeah, that was a bad attack though, for sure. I was just not paying as much attention to Pendelhaven as I should have. +1/+2 is a big difference from +1/+1. And while that didn't cost us terribly, like on a card advantage level, it did cost us a lot on tempo. And tempo might be pretty important. Zombify on Street Wraith. And they've just kind of maybe... Oh, I guess Quicksand will keep them alive. Opponent's deck looks pretty reasonable. It's definitely aggressive. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So actually that is still lethal, right? Because we cast this, this goes up to a 4/5. They shrink it down by 1, and that should be game. Again, assuming my opponent doesn't drop a legendary. I guess I technically should stack the Griffin first in case there's some other random thing that, like a legendary comes in and deals damage to everything, or I don't know. Probably not going to be relevant. Okay, that was a little bit sloppier than I would like, giving up a kind of a bad attack with our knight, but I think that will be game. Yep. Alright, so blue-black probably primarily with like Pendelhaven upside. Well, maybe it's like mono-black. My opponent really didn't play anything that wasn't black. Oh, they're also playing Prophetic Prism, they're splashing in a bunch of different ways. It seems like they're trying to be sneaky with their attackers, which means maybe Blood Hatch Nantuko's not its best. Although I have to imagine if they've got like the 2/2 Vampire for one, or like Phantasmal Bear, they're playing it. And the Nantuko's pretty good against that. My opponent also looks like, at least from that first impression, like they're trying to be very fast rather than really, like going big. Maybe Rurik Thar just isn't actually all that fantastic in a world of like Death Touch creatures and the like. Maybe it's not worth splashing. We could take out Cultivate Rurik Thar and bring in a couple more creatures and just say, hey, this is probably just going to be a matchup where whoever's got the best, fastest start wins. And that's maybe a liability with our mana too. Actually, don't hate that. So if we cut both of those, we bring in like Nantuko and Dauntless Cathar, maybe? Are we aggressive enough that we want a Loyal Sentry? Maybe a God's Willing? To defend against, like, Murder. Black's likely to have some good removal. Alright. Hopefully Hatchling still does good work for us. I think we're still going to play the Ash Barrens, just because it does help fix, but we're just going to add in a regular old Plains here. Okay, hand looks pretty slow. Does have Master of the Wild Hunt. We have good draws. We're on the play. I think I'm going to keep... We have mana and spells, and it's always hard to turn down a hand like this. But we may not have anything before turn 3 Loxodon. No, Watch Wolf, right on time. I guess the only better draw there probably would have been an Arbor Elf. And then Pendelhaven, Mesmeric Fiend. Okay. Well, Epic Confrontation is probably going to be able to answer that eventually. Be a little bit interesting to see what they take here. I could see Watch Wolf. I could also see Master of the Wild Hunt, although it's probably just Watch Wolf, honestly. We have a pretty good hand, if a little bit slow. Okay, it does decide to take Watch Wolf after a little bit of dithering. I think that's probably what I would have done, given that it potentially just makes our hands so very slow. So we're still going to be playing Woolly Loxodon on 3, Master of the Wild Hunt on 4, Kavu Climber on 5, Epic Confrontation somewhere in there if we need to. My opponent does know that the Master of the Wild Hunt is incoming. And obviously we'll know what the morph is next turn, but morph of their own. But even though my opponent has perfect knowledge, I don't think it changes the way we play here. So Quicksand's only attacking creatures, right? Yeah. My opponent wants to swing here. I'm pretty sure we just have to take it. Really don't want to... Well... Oh yeah, Pendelhaven, definitely. Never mind. Well, I guess Pendelhaven's just on Mesmeric Fiend, but... Sure. Ouch. Pendelhaven's kind of annoying against the Master of the Wild Hunt, too. Ugh. I think we're just taking it here, though. My opponent could also flip up, like, the Ripper and then buff it up. Returned Phalanx. Doesn't seem, like, absurd or anything here. I think we are just going to try and resolve Master of the Wild Hunt. We could go for Epic Confrontation, but we're a little bit behind this game for sure. My opponent has removal for the Master. It's bad, but we can't do too much about it either, I don't think. And Kavu Climber will help us stabilize the board even if the Master dies here. The plus side is Return Phalanx was a pretty poor play for my opponent last turn, since they don't really look like they've got like an easy access to blue. They're probably playing Prophetic Prisms in this deck since they have so many colors, but we could call the bluff on Pendelhaven. I really don't think we want to, though. Master just gets so good. That's potentially free damage, but Street Wraith. Okay. So that's a little bit nice because we actually just get to kill off the Mesmeric Fiend now, and actually we get to use the because they tap Pendelhaven, and we get to use Fiend Hunter and Epic Confrontations. This is going to be a massive turn. We want to use the Wolf to kill off Fiend for sure. I think we kill the Morph there, and I guess we use Epic Confrontation on Watch Wolf to kill that. Yeah, man, this is going to be a heck of a turn. I'm not going to be able to swing through the Return Phalanx this turn, but that's okay. Oh, it comes back to the hand. Oh, I guess that's true. They took it out of our hand. Okay. They still, I don't think, can have anything instant speed, so I think it's okay to Epic Confrontation, have them fight. Cast our Fiend Hunter. You're the Morph. It's probably just the Death Touch one, but it scares me enough that I want to get it off the battlefield. Okay, Supernatural Stamina. Well, I guess that kind of... Well, no, they don't have the mana for it still. That is good to know about, though. We take 2 damage. Yes, going to use the ability. Epic Confrontation. This will make this a 4/5, right? I'm terrified that I'm counting this wrong somehow, but I don't think it is. And then this was a pretty strong turn. We removed 3 of my opponent's threats and added, I guess just 1 of our own. Not counting the wolf, which was kind of free. But now my opponent's just got Supernatural Stamina. Next turn we can flip the Woolly Loxodon, use wolves to kill the Return Phalanx. Like, this is not looking great for him. Yeah, so I think we use... This returns tap too, right? Yeah. We're just going to use the Master and have him kill the Phalanx or try. They may just use Supernatural Stamina here, but... Yep. This kills a couple of wolves, we get the card out of their hand, and then the Woolly Loxodon can start swinging. Maybe that wasn't correct. Maybe we should have swung with the Loxodon first. I was thinking it'd be nice to get in for some points of damage here, but actually losing 2 wolves there is a cost for sure. I am hoping at this point it doesn't matter that much. Let's swing with our morph. They could try to go for quicksand, but that would be a... Oh, I guess that's... Oh, the morph you can't respond to, right? Yeah, it just turns face up. So they actually can't use quicksand response. One of the weird, like, side rules of morph, if I remember right. Yeah. It doesn't actually use the stack. Which, when you think about it, is really, really weird, but... Ooh, double quicksand. Yeah, I think my opponent's like mono black, like with some random splashes. Let's play Kavu Climber, I think, before combat here. We actually have more double white left than double green, right? Especially for cheap. And we have green in our hands. I think I'm gonna leave up double white. Oh, I guess we're gonna leave up 1. That makes sense. We'll leave up white so we can play Watch Wolf then. God's Willing. Okay, God's Willing is good. Let's go ahead and attack with our Woolly Loxodon, and that is it. So this is a colorless effect. One goes down to 8. 2 quicksands, that's kind of hard to attack through. But again, I think we're far enough ahead here that's just not going to matter. Okay. Wow, that was a clean sweep. 2-2-2-2. Or I guess 2-0-2-0-2-0. Well, I mean, I feel like our deck was definitely good. I'm not sure I would have called it quite that good, but... I mean, Master of the Wild Hunt was obviously fantastic. Rurik Thar, I guess maybe underperformed just a little bit, but we never got to get value off Protean Hulk, but 2 Iwamori was very powerful. Brutouch Nantuko did well. And I think probably more than just about anything, we had good draws, and we were against good matchups here. I could definitely see us playing a more controlling, like, white-black or white-blue deck or something, and having trouble just resolving enough threats and really getting through all their defenses. But since my opponents always seemed inclined to be either willing to race or kind of be on the aggressive side, I think we just had some really good efficient threats like Iwamori and Master of the Wild Hunt, and then some good defensive ones like Brute Hatch Nantuko, pretty much every game. So I guess it ended up being pretty academic. Woolly Loxodon obviously performed well. Yeah, nothing to complain about here. Hopefully it was fun to watch, even if a lot of the games were a little bit one-sided. At least they were one-sided in our direction, right? Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you guys next time.